Coming over here is the come up. That's the only reason they would be here, because coming over here is the come up. Just understand that. We're going to go ahead and go to the telephone lines. The number is... Let me get caller from area code 706. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Bomani calling from Augusta, Georgia.
All right, Bomani from Augusta. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was loving the podcast. I just wanted to chime in because I had some experience in what you were saying and working in warehouses. And I'm a college graduate, went to HBCU, and I went into the warehouse. Actually started working at Home Depot first back in 2002. And the first thing that they told me was I went into college and came out with a degree in business management, thought I was going to get into some kind of management program. And the first thing that I was told was, you don't have enough experience. But my manager, I guess he had started from pushing buggies and made his way up. But he was management, and me having a degree was not enough for me to even get into any kind of assisted management or management program. I also worked at the other box store at Lowe's, and I've been in positions where I've trained people
to become your manager.
The job that I applied for.
Yep. That is an age-old, tried and true situation right there.
You got to be training people?
No, they bring us in to train the next managers. That's what we do. You've been there for 20 years, and the best you can be is you're good enough to train somebody else to be a manager. You're not good enough to become one yourself.
Exactly.
Tried and true situation.
Long story short, the last time I did end up being a manager after about 10 years, and I took a position, and they actually laid me off. And when they laid me off, they offered me a management position, but I took the severance package and opened up my own business, and I've been in business since 2019. So it's the best decision that they could have made to not hire me as a manager. And I'm
certainly glad to hear that, and I'm certainly think that works out. Here's the thing. And please remember, I am Mr. Black Entrepreneurship. I am Mr. Self-Employed. That's me. Y'all know that. That's my credentials down the line. Here's the issue. Numerically speaking, everybody can't be a business owner, unfortunately. Economics does not allow for that. So now the issue for us has been that we are our entrepreneurial class is artificially low. So we have a significant amount of room to grow, especially compared to everybody else. The number of self-employed and successful business owners in Black society is abysmally low, and we all know that's been engineered and targeted to become. The real thing, though, is that, we definitely have to have leaders in that regard. We also have to have folk here who are certainly they can be employees, but that doesn't mean they have to be struggling. And there's where the issue comes in. I don't have a problem with folk necessarily being employees. I do have a problem with a situation where they are artificially being maneuvered into situations where they're struggling. And if you've been working at a place for 10 years, and you know it upside down, one side and backwards, where Black folk are concerned, we're the first ones to show up in the morning and the last one to leave. And when it snows, we still coming in anyway. And you've been doing all of that, and then next thing you know, when a management position does open up, they didn't hire their damn nephew. And here he comes diddy bopping in there looking like a drug addict, and your job is to, quote, train him. And then next thing you know, with no announcement whatsoever, he's being promoted to some... Let me tell you something, brother. When I worked at AT&T, I watched two white kids. And I'm not calling them kids, whatever. They were much younger than me. I watched two white kids. They got trained with us. Don't y'all know? They created some bull jive ass
I don't know.
Just them. Just the two of them. Never saw before, never heard of it, and basically 6 months later, their job was just basically walking around the damn place. I'm like, these little bastards got hired with me. What the hell? You can't say it's experience. You can't say it's knowledge. So that is what happens to us on a routine basis. You damn right cut the check. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I wish that conversation would be just talked about a little bit more, because there's a lot of, especially in corporate America, it happens entirely too often where the black person, whether he has a college degree or not, is the most qualified person, but gets passed up in the down south, what we call the what's it called, the brotherly love system or something like that, with
the good old boy system,
family members, the good old boy system. Yeah, so they all just stay together. It's just a conversation that you really can't prove, but we know it's existed, and you can't ever call it out. You can't put a lawsuit against it. There's nothing you can really do about it, but sit and watch it happen. And that's a conversation that I think I would like to see happen more often and really talked about. But
well, that's what we're doing that tonight.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here. We're definitely having that conversation here tonight. And I want y'all to understand, all of us have been through the same thing. All of us have seen the same thing. I have seen it. You have seen it. I have lived it. You have lived it. Many of you are living it right now. It is not artificial. It is engineered. And just like they're bringing over these illegals and picking them up and leapfrogging them over you, they're doing the same thing everywhere else. You damn right cut the check. Caller from area code 786. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Renee from Miami.
All right, Renee from Miami. What's on your mind?
Looking dead eyes, bro.
A little bit more information on the sooner comment you made. I have a conference next week, and I'll be with a bunch of the alumni from the Oklahoma Sooner. So I want to be able to give them the business.
Okay, well, it's a very short explanation to it there, but it's definitely about it's a story between Texas and Oklahoma where the panhandle was formed. The real point about it is when they opened it up, because for a while that area didn't belong to anyone. Folks, you cannot be allergic to researching these things. So Google is our friend, but the very short and I'm not saying that to be offensive. I'm saying y'all need to be fully informed about this, because if you're going to give folks the business, you need to be smarter about it than them. That area had been unsettled. So there was a dispute between Texas and Oklahoma, and it had been unsettled. And that it just had this big square up there. There was a strip of land, a huge strip of land that didn't really belong to anybody. And it wasn't really part of any one state until Oklahoma, till the formation of Oklahoma and incorporating it into the state. When they did that, they just held on this date, anybody who wants to go there can go rush in and go get some land. And next thing you know, it was only European immigrants, really. Black folk were kept out of it. And next thing you know, that's what happened. So when you hear about the term sooner, like I say, you do yourself a favor. If you want to go Google the origin of that term sooner, it's actually got a less festive definition behind it. And it goes more back to that era when we were sitting up here grabbing land like that. But that was reserved for European immigrants. It is well worth your time to go ahead and investigate that. And by the way, Oklahoma is not the only one. By the way, one more thing. Now, I'm just telling you about Oklahoma tonight. Oklahoma is not the only one. Everybody talks about, well, now y'all talk about about Oklahoma, but by the way, what about Utah? What about Oregon? Some places that have some infamous history, especially racially concerned. But by the way, Oklahoma was not the only one. For those of you who know the story of Brigham Young, not Brigham Young, Brigham Young and the Mormons. If you know the story about them leaving from, I think it was New York, going down to Utah and whatnot, and there was a murderous voyage down there, by the way. And by the way, things kind of sounded similar there, too. How did you end up with a whole state that you all are predominantly in charge of and still are to this day? How did that end up like that? I want y'all to understand. I want you all to learn these things and become students of these things. Everything is not Cliff Notes. I want you to become fully versed in it for one reason. If I give you a Cliff Notes version, you're most likely going to run into some suspected white supremacist who's going to test your knowledge. And the way that they debunk you, even if you're on the right track, is they pull out a detail that you're clueless about. And if they can pull out a detail that you don't know about, they can claim that everything else you've said is incorrect also. So that's why I can give you the Cliff Notes version of Primer, but you all are very, very, by the way, this YouTube videos that'll can explain that to you as well. But definitely it is well worth investigating. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I want you all to not just be, passive observers. You need to learn about these things. There's a reason why you all come to the New Black Media and we stack up the facts about these things. On the program last night about OJ, when I pulled back here about how many times OJ got messed with law enforcement and Kato Kalin on Mad TV. Remember, if you don't have, and Mark Furman, if you don't have your details, what they do is they try to debunk everything you said by latching on to some detail and then say, oh, you didn't know that? See, that's not what it was. See, there was one black person. There was one black person who was there. You see, you just don't know it. There was a black person who was there at the Panhandle. They'll pull that game on you, and if you're not fully informed, next thing you know, they unravel. Well, oh, you didn't know that? There was one black person there. See? So it wasn't just racially motivated. It's just that was what it was. And they'll pull that one on you. So, folks, when I say it's a homework assignment, what I'm saying is that this is your opportunity to learn. Jason, what books do you read? Well, I don't read a bunch of books anymore like that anymore, but I study everything. You have the accumulated knowledge of mankind at your fingertips. There's a YouTube video for pretty much anything you can name. Take out 15 minutes to become fully informed on something, and you'll never be ignorant in a social circle setting again. When somebody tries to debunk something, you'll be ready. It literally can take you 15 minutes to be ready. Although I would recommend that you take out an hour. Take out an hour and just go down to who, what, when, where, why. What was the date? Who were the people? Where was the event? You do that, and next thing you know, you become a dynamo. And when folks do try to pull some little slick stuff and try to yank out a detail, even if you don't have all the details, you'll be ready to debunk whatever they're saying because you got enough facts that they can't knock that down. Call me Miracle 321. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. How you doing? This is Dan from Orlando. I just had to back you up. I actually do work for Spectrum, and how you said it is exactly how it is. I'm not supposed to go in right tonight. So
that's the way it's always been.
I tell you that.
That's the way it's always been. It's always been like that. With the white dudes and whatnot, they get themselves mobbed up with the union if you got a union shop, and they make sure they're in the van. They're not going to be on the polls unless they need to. And if they do, they're working network. If they are up on the polls, they're doing network. They're not doing house.
Well, let me tell you another insight on here for Spectrum. They have a separate side, which is like more high end, and they cut it off from the other side. And I worked at call centers sometimes, and I've noticed certain call centers where they cut it off. I just happen to notice a part that's cut off that the other people can't go in. They just miraculously gets more white over there. That's another thing I see.
Now Spectrum was part of the divestment. I want to say it was. I don't know if it was part of Adelphia's divestment or AT&T's divestment. I don't remember, or Time Warner. I forget which one it was.
They're owned by Charter.
Okay, well, it's owned by Charter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's owned by Charter. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Florida is a bit of a wacky place in that regard because most of your Charter, without me getting too far in the woods, there was a big battle between what is today Comcast and what is Charter in the state of Florida. So I don't get off in the woods about that because it's really wonky. Those people who live in Florida are more familiar with it than people who don't live in Florida. But when Comcast began this big expansion 20 years ago and gobbled up Adelphia, they actually went bankrupt and went into Florida. They gobbled up as much as they could in Florida. But then when I was there, they called it a mom and pop operation. When Comcast spoke about Charter, they called it a mom and pop operation. was the way they talked about Charter. Well, anyway, Comcast wanted to buy a bunch of stuff, and they had to divest themselves because remember the federal government's like, okay, you'll have a monopoly if you own too much. So that's what I was saying. I wasn't aware, and then Spectrum came out of that. So there's a few of these companies that didn't used to exist. I want to say like Spectrum and I forget the name of that other one. No. Get Frontier, I think it is. I want to say Frontier.
Yeah. Frontier.
So there's a bunch of little ones that were made out of the divestment of these large ones. They had to divest some of their markets. So and Charter was a winner, and Charter survived that. But Spectrum, I want to say, was part of the divestment. And when I went through all that to say, I don't know if Spectrum is a union shop or not. Is it?
No. Well, at least I wouldn't know because I'm in Florida. We don't have unions like that.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. I don't think Spectrum is a union shop. I don't think it is. AT&T is, Verizon, but I don't think Spectrum is. And the reason that that's important is because when you start talking about they have subdivisions and the companies and whatnot and parts you can't go into, you don't even have a union to investigate that. That's important is because the union shop. I don't think it is. AT&T is, Verizon, but I don't think Spectrum is. And the reason that that's important is because when you start talking about they have subdivisions and the companies and whatnot and parts you can't go into, you don't even have a union to investigate that.
Yeah. Oh, and they do pay more on that side. Now, they try to tell us that side handles more of the big businesses, like I'm not saying this is what it is, but I'm just giving you an example. Let's say Walmart, where their internet is for Charter. That side of the company does that. They get paid $10 more than we do. Or
large ones, they had to divest some of their markets. So, and Charter was a winner, and Charter survived that, but Spectrum, I want to say, was part of the divestment. And when I went through all that to say, I don't know if Spectrum is a union shop or not. Is it?
No. Well, at least I wouldn't know because I'm in Florida. We don't have unions like that.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. I don't think Spectrum is a union shop. I don't think it is. AT&T is, Verizon, but I don't think Spectrum is. And the reason that that's important is because when you start talking about they have subdivisions and the companies and whatnot and parts you can't go into, you don't even have a union to investigate that.
Yeah. Oh, and they do pay more on that side. Now, they try to tell us that side handles more of the big businesses, like I'm not saying this is what it is, but I'm just giving you an example. Let's say Walmart, where their internet is. Yeah. Oh, and they do pay more on that side. Now, they try to tell us
visions and the companies and whatnot and parts you can't go into, you don't even have a union to investigate that. Let's say Frontier.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of little ones that were made out of the divestment of these large ones. They had to divest some of their markets. So, and Charter was a winner, and Charter survived that, but Spectrum, I want to say, was part of the divestment. And when I went through all that to say, I don't know if Spectrum is a union shop or not. Is it?
No. Well, at least I wouldn't know because I'm in Florida. We don't have unions like that.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. I don't think Spectrum is a union shop. I don't think it is. AT&T is, Verizon, but I don't think Spectrum is. And the reason that that's important is because when you start talking about they have subdivisions and the companies and whatnot and parts you can't go into, you don't even have a union to investigate that.
Yeah. Oh, and they do pay more on that side. Now, they try to tell us that side handles more of the big businesses, like I'm not saying this is what it is, but just giving you an example. Let's say Walmart, where their internet is for Charter. That side of the company does that. They get paid $10 more than we do.
Oh, yeah. And
they make sure fight over there.
And they make sure that they gatekeep who's allowed in there. That's the whole point.
Yeah. It's hard to get.
And
I give you perfect.
Your promotions into management will probably come more from that side too.
I give you a perfect example. My boy, he just left. He went to UCF, has all his certs, and he actually graduated for cybersecurity. Has all his certs. He wanted to go to that side. They wouldn't let him. They put him on the side where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
He has all of his certifications.
Oh yeah. Gatekeeping like a son of a gun. Gatekeeping like a son of a gun. So that's That's why I want y'all to be aware. I've seen it over decades. It ain't changed. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, thanks for doing the broadcast today. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're not asking for too much. I say that we ask for too little. And just one last thing, when you say about the highways, I'm here in Orlando, and you look at the Paramore section where you see all black because they're building up the Amway and they have that soccer field there. Almost all of that's gone. They're putting new buildings up there, new condos there, where a lot of black people used to be there for the classics up. Most of that's gone.
Yeah, now,
all of that down.
Now Paramore District, there's behind Amway off of Interstate 4. Interstate
Correct.
4 and that tollway. There's a tollway that goes over Interstate 4.
408.
Okay, there you go. All right, and now the reason why that's important, I think I've talked about Paramore before, because that's like the Skid Row. Mentally, I classify it as being like Skid Row because that's what it reminded me of. Okay, because the reason is I'll give you all a quick memory trip. California is on one side of the country, Florida's on the other side. Okay, they both have a lot of parallels. So how do I remember those things? I remember those things because in Los Angeles, right before you get in downtown, the number streets and whatnot, so there's Skid Row. They're in Orlando, if you're going through downtown, and you all know I base everything off of the major freeways. It's not hard in Florida because it's shaped like shaped oblong, so you don't have freeways going like that. Interstate 4 should be going east and west, and it kind of does. But in any case, if you get off of there and stuff, so the Amway Center, anybody who's been to Orlando, you've seen Amway Center. If you didn't go to Disney World, you've seen Amway Center, you can't miss it. But if you ever get off the freeway, and I'm good for that, it's like, okay, what's the neighborhood around it look like? Okay, the side on downtown is all restaurants and bars and what you would expect. Right on the other side of it is the hood. And that place is called Paramore. Now, I've seen it. I drove through it a few times. I understand it. But here's my thing about it. I've known they were in the crosshairs, ever just like the rest of y'all. I knew it was the crosshairs then. And it's like, okay, you're not long for this world. It's not just the hood over there. They got black businesses over there, too. They got black businesses over there, too. They do. It's not just the hood and stuff. They got small black businesses over there. I've seen them. I've been in a couple of them. And what I'm saying is, when I saw that all being built, and I'm like, there's no way they're going to let y'all stay here. There's just no way. You're going to get gobbled up because you must. So I haven't been there in a while. I may make a special trip to go see, because I keep hearing people saying that. I don't know if you all really mean Paramore is gone. I don't know if that's what you really mean, but I keep hearing people saying things like that.
It's mostly gone. They got a couple little houses there, little bummy houses. They have a small tent city. I've seen them move the tent city. There's a tent city growing. Just going back to what you're saying, how much black homeless people are, and all the people in that tent city was black.
Yeah, and my thing about that is that it is. You didn't have a lot of that then, but you saw them collecting. That was a big area for the homeless. That's why I was saying I call it Skid Row in my mind. Mentally, I've cataloged it as Skid Row because, them dudes are up under the damn freeway all the time. They're under the freeway all the time. And I'm like, oh, well, when they get done with y'all, it ain't going to be nothing nice. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Also, because of, for those of you who don't know, for Eatonville, by the way, for my folks who live in that area of Florida and whatnot, Eatonville, I try to remember as much as I can. So when we talk about, Lake Lanier and places like that, and Greenwood, Archer, and Pine, by the way, right there in Central Florida, what about Eatonville? They got a great